Alrighty, thanks for joining us today on a Friday. I'm Marlon Bowling with you, your tour guide to the ag commodities. Hope you're having a good finish to the week out there. And in some areas where you're able to go in the field, I wish you all the best for planting progress today. I hope things are cooperating with you. I know it's a very busy time of year, so please stay safe out there. I am joined by Brian Hoops of Midwest Market Solutions. He's in Springfield, Missouri. And Brian, you know, in the overnight trade, I saw a little bit of a weaker tone in the, the corn and the soybeans. Wheat seemed to be just very, very slightly higher, just very quiet. So I don't know. I tried to look at the fundamental reasons on the wire for reasons why the trade may have been doing what it was doing, and yeah, I got nothing. How about you?
Well, I guess we can just end this interview then, right?
Okay.
But yeah, no, you know, I think the weather forecasts have changed just a little bit, especially for the wheat. We dropped hard yesterday as it looked like some good rains were going to fall all the way across Kansas. Now, those models have shifted a little bit further south. It looks like Oklahoma, northern Texas is going to get the brunt of those rain showers, and that's going to leave a lot of the Kansas wheat areas dry. And I've heard in the western part of Kansas, there is just not much there that's going to help out this wheat crop. In fact, a lot of it has been torn up already, and producers, if they do get some rain, are going to plant something else, some like milo. They're zeroing out their wheat crop in that western part of the state. Still that central to the eastern part, they look like they will get some rain, and that should help out that crop. You know, Kansas wheat ratings improved 1% last week, and may be set to improve a little bit again in the upcoming weeks. But you know, certainly we could see some sort of a recovery here going into the weekend and going into Monday's crop progress numbers, just based on the ideas that these rain showers are starting to shift a little bit out of that wheat area. The Corn Belt, you know, we're not ideal this weekend. It's going to be very cool. Producers telling me, in Omaha area, it's 35 degrees right now, so ground temperature is certainly cold, and there was some snow in parts of South Dakota. Our office in Yankton had some snow. Sioux Falls had snow yesterday. So it's not ideal by any means, but it will warm up, and the market is kind of looking ahead already to that next week and beyond, that we're going to get the crop in the ground. It's not going to be a delayed planting. It's not going to be record fast. It's going to be more of an average type of crop. And once we get, at least half the crop seeded, we can start to add some weather premium, I think, into the marketplace, because now that seed that's in the ground is vulnerable to some drought conditions, too wet, whatever it may be.
And excuse me, I noticed driving into work this morning, here in the Mid-South, the wheat is already heading. And that's got to be a concern, because they're talking maybe a scattered frost this weekend around this area. So people a little antsy about that. Of course, we had a late freeze event too, as we were coming out of the winter here when the wheat was past joint stage. A quick look here at our overnight trade. Here's a recap of what we had on Globex, and our quotes are provided by Bar Chart. On corn, we ended up with the May 2 lower. We ended up with December corn down 2 3/4 at 554 3/4. As Brian and I have been talking about earlier this week, the May options contracts expire today. So more activity is in July, and July corn is down 3 3/4 cents this morning. On soybeans, we'll go ahead and go with that July. It's down 11 1/4 today at 14.57 1/4, and November dropping by 8 cents overnight. And in Chicago wheat, here we had July 1 3/4 higher at 681 3/4, and Kansas City wheat overnight had the July 2 higher, and Minneapolis wheat on that same July contract, well, it was up 1.50 cents. We'll come back and take a look at our livestock trade with help from Brian Hoops right after this. All right, we're back with Brian Hoops of Midwest Market Solutions. Well, on the livestock side, Brian, I suppose about the key thing to take a look at today, or be aware of today, is after the close, we will get the April cattle on feed report, correct? So we do have some early analyst estimates on what that report may show. The Wall Street Journal did a survey of analysts around the country. Well, if you look at the average trade guess for the on-feed number this month, they were looking at 94.8% of a year ago. And we had the placements expected to be 94.9%, marketings at 98.8%. Of course, we'll fill in the actual numbers after the report comes out. Any thoughts on this here, Brian, as far as do you fall in line with those numbers, those estimates, or do you fall outside of that?
Yeah, we're one of the analysts that submit numbers for this particular survey, and our numbers came in on the placement side just a little bit less what the average guess is. Just looking at, we're not seeing that many animals still being placed into those feedlots compared to year ago levels. Not much of a change compared to what the average guess is, but we're looking at just a little bit less. The on-feed numbers we think are very, very close, and marketing numbers are close, maybe just slightly less. This last month. From what we've heard from some of the feedlots, these cattle that actually are on feed are very green, and the weights that came out yesterday showed that we're 20 pounds below last year's levels. That tells us that maybe these cattle need an extra week or two to kind of finish out. Packers may start to cut some of those kills in effort to give those producers time to get those animals a little bit more ready for slaughter weight. But I think that the market yesterday kind of anticipated these numbers, traded it into the close with pretty good gains from June on back. And I think we'll see some positioning again today with those deferred contracts, all looking at this cattle on feed report and seeing that it's going to be friendly. Supplies are going to remain tight, and we're not going to change those supplies really anytime in the near future.
We did have some cash cattle trade yesterday on the livestock summary. In general, it looks like the prices were just kind of mixed, maybe steady, maybe a little bit weaker. 173 to 177 on a live basis yesterday. Looking at the futures trade where we finished up yesterday, here's a point of reference for you on live cattle. Let's take a look at the board. Our quotes are from bar chart. On, if we can bring that up, here we go. The June contract 75 higher yesterday at 164.35, and they had quite a comeback here. If you look at feeders, well, the May was up $1.87 at 212.35, and beyond that, everything way over $2 higher yesterday. And on lean hogs, June was down $1.35, so the beat goes on. It closed at 85.07. Brian, great information. Hope you have a great weekend out there. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate that. Brian Hoops of Midwest Market Solutions. So